44. At this point, let me refer the Commission to email correspondence between myself, Director Malachi, and Director Veli Nwandule, in brackets, Director Management and Admin Support. I further refer to Annexure SB8.
Perhaps let's go there, Commissioner Bolhuis.
Maybe as you do that, if you just again explain who is Director Nwandule and how does he fit in the department?
Thank you. He's, as indicated in my statement, the Director for MAS, MAS, Management Administration Support. In this directorate, you find a finance section. So he's overall responsible for finance and the departmental budget under the supervision of Deputy Police Commissioner Dlamini. Okay. On page 124, Commissioners, that is Annexure SB8.
Commissioner Bolhuis, just to follow the correct timeline of these emails, I think you should start on page 128.
128.
Yes. You'll see that at the bottom there. That will be the email from yourself sent on Wednesday, 2nd of October at 11:26. Then we'll follow that timeline.
Okay.
So you will read that from 128 and flip over to 129. 128 to 129, then we'll go
No problem.
in terms of the timelines, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioners. On page 128 at the bottom, it's an email from myself sent on Wednesday, 2 October 2024 at 11:26 in the morning to Director Veli Nwandule, and in the same line to Sukuru P. Malachi. And I CC'd Deputy Police Commissioner Dlamini, Mr. Jethro Seleka, who's also in the finance section, the COP, Mr. Reginald Mashlangu from APSS, Mr. Dr. Elvis K. Madiglaba, Winnie B. Mashlangu, who also works in that office by APSS. Then the next people are my support staff, Kuzet van Aswegen and Carlien van Zyl. The subject was, or is, APSS, non-payment of service providers, importance high. Director Nwandule, and in brackets underneath, Director Malachi. Please urgently advise on the slow, in brackets, non-payment of security service providers. What are the issues and how can we urgently resolve it? Your immediate attention to this will be highly appreciated. Kindest regards by myself. So do you want me to continue?
Yes, then a response to your email would follow at, so it's on 127. You will see at the bottom there a response from Veli Nwandule on the same day at 13:02.
Yes.
I think you can skip the designation of the email and go to the content.
Yeah, it was sent to everyone.
Yes.
That was already mentioned. Thank you, Commissioners. In that email, page 127 at the bottom, Director Veli Nwandule responds to all of us and to me and all of us. Good day, Deputy Police. We only need to adhere to some little procedures. I have reported to the unit, the Asset Protection in brackets, that I'm sitting with 35 variable requisitions in my SAP inbox. I also indicated that on each requisition, no SLA, no letter of appointment, no invoices were attached on the system, in brackets, something very strange. In attempting to bring a quick solution, I requested that the SLA letter of appointment be attached on the system or hand-delivered to my office without success. I also requested that the original invoices be hand-delivered to my office without success. Instead, the invoices were sent via email, apparently at the instruction of the Director of Protection Services. Further to unprofessional conduct, the service provider were told the Metro Police cost center owner does not want to pay them. I am still waiting for the original invoices to be hand-delivered as per the promise of the ladies I spoke to, which is, in brackets, Winnie and Ulander. Hope the above is found in order. Kind regards, Veli Nwandule.
And then, if you follow the sequence, you will then have to go to page 126. You will see that in the middle of that page, there is a response from one Tsukuru Malachi at 1520. He now responds to...
The response is on Wednesday, 2 October 2024, 1520, from Tsukuru Malachi to Mr. Veli Nwandule, and the rest of us are CC'd. Hi, Director Nwandule. Thank you very much for the email below. I think you would agree with me that asset protection is responsible for the management of this contract. To this end, any documentation relating to the management of this contract must be kept safe by my office for ease of reference and response to all sorts of inquiries. This documents would include, but not limited to copy of contract, the SLA, and monthly invoices. The reason being that the documents are central to the effective management of the project. Audits, which are carried out or conducted frequently by both internal and external institutions, full stop. Therefore, I would like to humbly request that you return the original documents after use for record keeping. Your cooperation in this regard will be highly appreciated. Kindest regards, Tsukuru Malachi.
And then lastly, on the email chain, then you will need to go to page 124. This will be the last email from Veli Nwandule. And you will see that email starts on top of the page, and the time there, it's 18:09 in the evening. Could you just take it from there, from the body of the language? He responds to Director Malachi.
Thank you, Commissioners. On page 124, from the top, from Veli Nwandule to Tsukuru Malachi. Evening, Director Malachi. I herewith acknowledge receipt of your original invoices after a long and unnecessary delay. Thanks to the patient messenger I sent to your offices. I confirm that I only received 22 invoices for the month of August 2024. Your email here under is rather shocking. The Asset Protection Unit is not a new service to the TMPD. It has just been returned, and my expectation was that we were going to have a seamless process in executing our duties and a smooth transition would unfold. It is not news to you that our department has its own finance section, which is responsible for all finance matters of the department, including but not limited to the management of contracts and procurement administration, and the for your attention. On contracts, 1. The TMPD has the contract management subsection, which administers all departmental contracts and ensures their safekeeping. As courtesy to the client division, copies are made on a request and given to whoever makes such a request. I will request that you spearhead handling over the letters of the appointment of the service level agreements for each service provider to the TMPD contract management subsection, in brackets Vusi Mabona, for your convenience. It follows, Commissioners, on the next page, page 125 on top. On monthly invoices, 1. TMPD Finance has one central point of processing all contracted services invoices, and there shall be no confusion/parallel activities elsewhere. Point 2. The responsibility of the client division, in brackets asset protection, is to receive the invoice, verify the service against the billed amount, sign it off, and send that original invoice to the departmental finance. And Commissioners, you will recall that I previously spoke about this when you asked me when did I stop co-signing invoices. When this process was implemented, it's just confirmation of that. Remember that as a client division, you are an overseer of one of the services of the TMPD. 3, the responsibility of the finance section of the department is to create a requisition for each original invoice received. 4, a received original invoice will be signed by the cost center owner or his nominee before any processing can be done. The requisition creator, SAO-procurement services, verifies the contents before requisition is created. 5, the cost center owner will then release requisitions on the system upon satisfaction that all the necessary documents were received and attached on the system. 6, on a lighter note, original invoices belongs to a person who pays. We keep a record of such at one central point. Copies will be made for you upon a request. 7, I therefore expect your cooperation regarding the above going forward. Then there is a subheading notable. It's supposed to be anomalies, but anomalies. It starts with a dash. 13 requisitions have been created by yourselves to the tune of 8,282,682 rand 19 cents without invoices, and yet you expected me to blindly release these requisitions. Only you can provide a better explanation to your supervisor and the chief of police on those, and I will be given a go-ahead to release as the cost center owner upon clarity. Lastly, a lie was spread that I want to have a meeting with service providers before I release their payments. A second lie was circulated that I am refusing to release their payments, and you have done everything on your side, whereas you deliberately forgot to inform the service provider that you were refusing to bring the documents that would enable payments for them. I hope it is the last time I'm treated with that level of unprofessionalism. Hope the above is found in order. Kind regards, Veli Nwandule.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's quite a loaded exchange of emails. Because your question was quite, or at least your email was quite simple to say, why is there slow or no payment of service providers? And what you get is this strong exchange of emails between, at least appears to be Veli Nwandule and Tsukuru Malaji. What do you make of this, to your initial question?
Yes, initially I just wanted to have clarity on what is the issue, but I'm extremely glad it unfolded the way it unfolded, because in a subsequent email, I don't know if it's part of this bundle somewhere, but in a subsequent email, I instructed Mr. Malachi to adhere to the financial section's procedure. and that was the instruction. So, yes, at first I didn't expect it, but as I say, it was an eye-opener, and it initiated the process clearly defined so by the finance section, seeing that Director Nwandule, as indicated in his correspondence, he's the cost center owner that releases the funds for these payments, and that is actually, if not all procedure is followed and documents are handed in as per his explanation, which immediately became the system in place to ensure that this is done procedurally correct. And I must mention that Director Nwandule was correct to say that this is not a new service, basically, if I can paraphrase, in the Metro Police. IPSS has been returned back to Metro Police, and it's common knowledge that Metro Police, not like other departments, have their own financial section, because we do deal with contracts and service providers like the watchman services and others.
I think what's concerning to me, Commissioner Bolhuis, is that we don't seem to be dealing with the problem of period only in January 2025 or February, so on. This phenomenon of not submitting invoices and all relevant documents seems to have existed, at least when you look at this email, as it's discussed there, as early as October 2024. And this has nothing to do with period, at least on the face of this exchange. What do you make of that, Commissioner?
I am of the same view. I've even got my own suspicions that there could have been a long-standing process of manipulating whatever systems is in place, or lack of systems for that matter. Whether that was for financial gain or for corruption, I don't want to be the person that uses hearsay and accuse people without evidence. But I refer again to what Chief of Police Faru said in her witnessing here at the Commission, that all these things will be looked at and must be looked at. It could be, let me use my words carefully, it could be that the systemic rot and corruption has been going on for quite some time, even before the function was returned to the Metro Police, right under our own noses. And yes, I remember exactly the frustration illustrated by the commissioners about why, and we hear the sentiment, we don't have proper answers on those. We did fail in that, I agree. We could have done better. But we are here now with this before us, and we have to deal with what we have. And this will definitely be part of that further investigation.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bolhuis, I think we've just dealt with those emails. We've dealt with paragraph 45 and 46. So perhaps you can just pick it up from paragraph 47 instead.
Before you do that, in these email exchanges, what is set out is the process. That's what Director Nwandule, Mr. Nwandule is doing, setting out the process.
Yes, Madam.
So in respect of the problematic payments, that is to Gubis, because we have these WhatsApp exchanges where Mr. Mnisi is involved in processes of invoices must now be uploaded, there must be an upliftment of the amounts that must be paid, and eventually even the Deputy Commissioner Dlamini is involved in it, right? And eventually somebody says, yes, all sorted, payments will be made. If it's done properly, or when Mr. Malachi does come to testify, which he will do, and Mr. Mnisi testifies, we should expect that this payment process that is lined out by Mr. Nwandule would have been complied with.
Yes.
The documents should be there
It should have.
for
would have,
payment eventually to be released.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Otherwise, the finance section, Director Nwandule or his colleagues would have reported back to me in the time span when I was the caretaker that although they waited, but it was eventually followed. They would have reported back to me that it wasn't followed. Then I could have intervened. So I have to assume that it was followed correctly from that point onwards. Exactly how they manipulated that, I'm not sure. But that will come out most probably in other evidence before you.
Now, Director Nwandule does not define a role for the Chief Financial Officer in this approval
Yes.
of payments matrix. Where does the CFO feature?
The CFO doesn't fit into that. The Commissioner asked about, do I know the financial process? And I'm not very well versed in this,
Okay.
but this is the process that is followed within the department when it relates, well, there's processes for all types of finances, but when it relates to contract management. So, as Director Nwandule explained it here in that document, this is the process followed in the department. From there, it goes to supply chain management,
I see.
and from there to the CFO for payment. So the CFO comes into that process.
Okay, thank you.
So just remind me which page, which
We on
paragraph?
page 12, so we're in paragraph 47.
47.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. Paragraph 47. On 28 February 2025, the City Manager sent an extension letter to Gubi's 85 Solution Pty Ltd. This is attached here to as Annexure SB9. Next page. The total amount paid under TMPD 02-2016/17 to all service providers since inception March 20, in brackets, March 22 to the end of January 2026 is 2,923,467 rand and 84 cents. And that is written again in brackets there. Approximately 730,857,460 rand per year. This much is also confirmed in Commissioner Revospe's statement.
Chair, perhaps there to just to be fair, that this extension letter was also sent to the other 21 service providers. It was not exclusive to Gubi's. The only question I have for you, Commissioner Bolhuis, in this regard is that were you involved in any of the processes dealing with the extension of this tender? Because this letter is dated 28th of February and it's a time that you would have been a caretaker. Were you ever involved in those processes?
I was involved in communication and supply of information, even letters, reports, documentation to the city and to the CFO and also to the BIC in regards.
All right.
And maybe also to, just for completeness and just so that there's no confusion, so that this extension, it's the extension not of the ad hoc services, but of the contract itself.
Of the security contract,
Yes.
the bigger security contract, yes.
Thank you.
Because the new tender could not come into place, then as per the MFMA, you have to extend it in a certain procedural manner, which we've done.
Yes. And maybe lastly, in that letter of extension, and this is I'm not asking, I just want you to confirm if I'm correct. At page 131, there is a number of people there who are copied, I suppose. One of them is Mr. Kane Mbofu in supply chain management. You recognize that name? At 131?
Page 131.
Yeah, there are a number of names there of people that are copied, and at number,
Yes.
at number 4, you've got Kane Mbofu.
Yeah, he's a senior person in the supply chain management process of the city of Tshwane.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bolhuis. Can we then move to the last, at least the second last topic before the remarks, closing remarks? It's the topic dealing with requests for additional funding. That is paragraph 48. Can you take it from there, please?
Thank you. Paragraph 48, I'm aware that to ensure that the TMPD can meet its financial obligations during the extension period, a request was made to uplift an amount of 91 million for the 24-25 funds for security services, specifically to pay for the invoices submitted by the service providers for the period of May to June 2025. I attach this letter of request as Annexure SB 10. The request is recommended by the CFO, Gareth Menisi, and the Chief of Police, Commissioner YRC Faro, and approved by the City Manager, Mr. J. Metler.
Chair, this letter, it was dealt with by Commissioner Spies. If my memory serves me well, it might have been dealt with by Commissioner Faro as well. So I don't think there's a need for this witness to go there, especially given that it was during June time where he had stopped being the caretaker, but at least to accept for the point that he will make later on, 2 paragraphs later, why he needs to speak to this, to make reference to this letter. Can you then continue to paragraph 49, Commissioner Bolhuis?
Thank you, Commissioners. Paragraph 49. On or about 12 March 2025, I was copied on an email from Deputy Commissioner Dlamini, which stated that the deployment of ad hoc security guards had grown exponentially and indicated that an extra 37 sites were added in January 2025, with a further 6 sites added in February 2025, in total 43 sites. A copy of the mail and the annexures is attached as Annexure SB 11.
Chair, I think the similar comment applies that Commissioner Spies dealt with this letter before the commissioners. We do not need to go there. Commissioner Bolhuis, can you then move to the next paragraph?
Paragraph 50, Commissioners. But I later realized that, in fact, the initial request for the additional funding emanated from a WhatsApp message I received from the Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Gareth Menisi, sent to me on 25 February 2025. I quote the message below. It's inverted commas and italics. 25 February 2025. From Gareth Menisi, he says, "Good afternoon, DC. Please assist with loading the approval for budget upliftment. The team needs to upload with the budget team in order to upload payment." And then it says forwarded, and in brackets, in italics again, it says request for additional funds to be made available. Paragraph 51. The message is attached as Annexure SB 12, Year 2.
Can we then go to that WhatsApp message, please?
SB 12.
It's page 143.
Yes, I'm there.
Yes, can you take us through that exchange? Who are the participants in that conversation?
Yes, I am. This is a WhatsApp message, Commissioners, on page 143, sorry. It is from the CFO, Gareth Manisi, to me. So,
And, sorry, you took a screenshot from your phone?
yeah, I took a screenshot from my phone. In the first messages are other messages. Good afternoon, DC. Please assist with loading the approval for budget upliftment. The team needs to upload with the budget team in order to enable payment. Then there was a forwarded document, request for additional funds to be made available. So that is an actual attachment, a document.
Deputy Commissioner, what is this concept of budget upliftment? I've never encountered it before. What does it mean and what happens there?
It's a term that we, Madam Commissioner, that we use in the city, in the department. It is when you realize, and I spoke about this earlier, when you realize early in the financial year that you are running out of funds for a certain function to complete, that you write a memo or report to the city manager, but via your group head, CFO, etc., to indicate that you do not have enough funds. And please, I'm explaining it from my own experience. I'm not, again, a financial specialist. Where you explain to the city that you need so much funds and you give explanation why and motivation to complete the task or whatever you're busy with. And then the CFO, upon approval, the CFO will uplift funds, meaning he will make funds available.
In this WhatsApp exchanges, good afternoon, DC. This is addressed to you.
To me,
By?
Manisi, CFO.
Okay. And then, okay. So where it says, thanks, DC will expedite tomorrow. Who's speaking? I'm just trying to make sense of this sequence of communication.
That's not part of this communication.
I see.
I'll have to go back in my records to see what that was part of.
Okay, all right.
That's
But the only relevant part here in this page, the only relevant WhatsApp message is this one, good afternoon, DC, to you.
Yes, plus the forwarded attachment, which is the actual document about the upliftment.
Okay.
CFO, Mr. Manisi, would be the one who actually releases funds. But now he wants you to initiate the process so that he may then release funds. Correct me if I'm
Yes.
misunderstanding.
Commissioner, let me explain. The upliftment permission for the upliftment permission was already done.
Okay.
So he's requesting me to load that information. Once again, I just referred all of that to Deputy Chief Dlamini and the Finance Office because they know what to do with it.
When you say it had already been done, who had done it and at what stage was it? I want to understand the need for you to do something, whatever the something was.
Then sorry, Commissioner, do we have that document on file? The upliftment document, sir?
Would it be the same document?
Am I allowed to consult my phone?
Yes, you may. Yes.
Is it not the same document on 132?
132.
Yeah.
Let me see quickly.
It might not be when you look at the dates, but that's the closest I can come to assisting you, but it doesn't look like it anyway.
I think it's the same one. I just want to check. If you give me a second.
It can't be the same one because the chats seem to date early in 2025, and this document at 132 is dated 30 June 2025.
Commissioners, I cannot open that downloaded, that document that was forwarded to me because it's if it's not on file, I would be able to make a supplementary statement to that because I do have it on my computer. So what I've done, once I received this message from the CFO, plus the document, I forwarded to Deputy Chief Dlamini, Deputy Police Commissioner Dlamini. I CC'd the Chief of Police, CFO, and whomever, relevant people, and I've actually quoted the message verbatim, plus I added that document, and I send it to Deputy Police Commissioner Dlamini to say, he needs to action this.
Is this what you say had been done already? Is that what you are referring to now?
I believe so, because when you do upliftment, it's not a process started, you are in consultation with the CFO, but it's not a process started by the CFO. It's a process you start in the department. So we would consult with the CFO, and then we start an upliftment process by writing a document, whether it's a C9 report, which is a typical system we use in the city department, or a memo. And this is addressed to the city manager, and then we explain why, and then the whole process is explained, and then the chief recommends, CFO recommends, it goes to the city manager, and it's signed off. I would make a deduction, because why would the CFO asking me to upload the information if it's not something that has already been done?
Yeah.
So he's obviously waiting for that approved report or memo to be uploaded through our finance section somehow, somewhere, so that he can then release funds.
Release funds, okay. So basically you are saying it was still winding its way within
Yes, it was still in process.
within the TMPD.
Yes.
So that's why he's saying, all right, please do it. All right, all right.
But then it would also mean, from the process that you're describing, the point at which the CFO becomes involved, it would mean that this WhatsApp message from him, somebody in your department has alerted him. Your internal departmental processes are not yet complete. That's why he doesn't see this information on the system. So someone in your department must have informed him that this is happening, but it is still holding because of you.
That is possible, madam, or it could have been that that he knows the process is almost in completion because he recommended, and he's now waiting for us, because once a document has been signed off, the Chief of Police recommends, CFO recommends, City Manager signs off. Because the document is originated in the Metro Police, the document returns to the Metro Police. He would know that he signed, because he signed, and that it's probably gone via the City Manager for signature, and it's now returning to the Metro Police. So it's either that, or someone is alerting him, it's still lying by us, and we're hanging on to the document and not processing it. But I'm speculating.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Commissioner Bolhuis, so that we don't conflate issues, can you go to page 134?
1, 3, 4.
Yes.
Yes?
Now, this is an email from Deputy Commissioner Umashi Dlamini. I want you to read into the record the very last paragraph of that email.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. The last paragraph of this email states further that you explore the possibility of engaging the requesting sister department and to persuade them to engage the CFO to approve or make funds available for ad hoc duties. That upon approval and availability of the said funds, the necessary journal be made accordingly so that our budget is not overburdened.
So you will see the subject of that email says ad hoc duties versus available budget for APS. And
Yes.
that email would have been sent on the 12th of March. So where I need you to balance us, Commissioner Bolhuis, is that there is this text from the CFO, and then you said you forwarded all of that as a package with the annexure to Deputy Commissioner Umashi Dlamini.
Yes.
And then 2 weeks later, he sends this email where you see at the end there is a request to be made, or someone is requested to persuade the CFO to approve or make funds available. Are the two interlinked, or the SMS, the WhatsApp, and the email?
I would not be able to say with confidence yes, but it could be. It could definitely be. If I look at it from the little that we have before us, it's clear to me that there is a request for more funds the whole time. And there's one thing to ask for upliftment of a budget, to deal with the finances of the contract. Now this is additional to that, and it is because it mentions ad hoc services. So someone increase ad hoc services, as we've seen, irregularly, and now there is a further asking for funds for the ad hoc services, for the payment thereof. So how it links specifically, or how far it's integrated, I cannot say, but it seems that way.
Why or how would Deputy Commissioner Dlamini become involved in this to a point where he's got this kind of information and he's sending this email to Deputy Commissioner Spies? What's his involvement in terms of position in a matter like this?
Look, the Deputy Commissioner Dlamini is the divisional head of support and administrative systems. And the finance section falls within that. How much influence he has over the finance section, or does he have or doesn't he have, I don't know. I don't have any evidence or personal information to that, so I would not know. What happens, what could have happened, and what happens on an ongoing basis within the Metro Police Department is that, let's say there's an issue at finance section, they will elevate the matter to Deputy Police Commissioner Dlamini, and he will then consult or collaborate with the other deputy chiefs, either directly or in what we call executive management meeting, EMM short. Then something is brought to the table, we discuss it there, we make a decision, we move on. So I'm not sure what happened here and what is the precursor to this. But on a quick view, it looks to me like whether this is related to irregular ad hoc and future ad hoc and monies and all that, let's park that for one side. It looks to me on the eye that he is now consulting with Deputy Chief Spies to ensure that sister departments, and I must assume he's referring to where service delivery requests would come from, that they make funds available so that these services can be paid and we don't overburden the budget. That's on a quick eye view. That's what I can say.
Maybe lastly on this, you are the overseer or the caretaker of the APSS in January and February.
That's correct, ma'am.
When this is being incurred, I would, and correct me if I'm wrong, I would expect that you would have been informed about this, you should have been informed about this problem of additional sites having been added and so many, as it says in this email, and the effect of it on the budget, that you would be informed before Deputy Commissioner Dlamini is informed, because you are the caretaker at that time. You're the person responsible for that function. Is that a fair assessment?
That would be a fair assessment. I believe I am copied in most of these communications from the onset. But your assessment makes sense that because I was the caretaker, it happened under my watch to inform me to determine if I know anything about it or what can I say about it. So that is a fair assessment.
Thank you.
So you are now copied on this email. It's still early March. It doesn't seem like you did anything about it, because in this email, they're not just talking about the issue of ad hoc. They also mentioned that in the January month, 30 sites were added. In February, 6 sites were added. I don't see anywhere where you say, who authorized this? I never authorized this. How come I was not told about this?
Yes. The emails of 12 March, there was a flurry of emails. By the time I saw the flurry of emails, was already at a point where the chief has already given instruction to Deputy Chief Spies to address the matter. We consulted one another, but verbally. I didn't respond to the email. It was overtaken already by events. So you wouldn't see any response from me on the 12th March flurry of emails.
Yeah, but the instruction to Spies is that ad hoc services must be cancelled.
Yes.
It does not talk to what was added in January and February, and who added it and why, where did they get authority to do that, which is your issue. Spies' issue is cancel all ad hoc services.
Yes.
And he sends the email, they ask for an official letter, he sends it at the end of June. You are saying, while you were the head of this division, exercising supervisory authority, these two things happened. In January, 30 sites that you know nothing of were added. In February, 6 sites that you know nothing of were added.
Correct.
You must account for what happened in the past, not what Spies is going to do going forward. How come you didn't say to those below you, I want a full report on this. Who authorized this? How did it happen? I mean, the fact that SPIS only knows about the allocations, specifically the ones to Govies, he becomes aware when he sends the official letter in June. And Govies then shows him all these documents. That's later in the year. But you in March know that sites have been added and people who added them did not have authority and they did not consult you. But you don't seem to have taken that up with either Malachi or any of the people below him.
No, I have not. At that period of time, as you know yourself, Commissioners, I was not anymore the caretaker. SPIS has taken over. So all the functionality of possible investigations, even though it's invoices coming from the previous months, he looked into that. He gave evidence to that. I'm not sure if that is part of the investigation that was done. I believe so. And then later the information came out as to exactly what transpired. But I take your point.
Yeah,
I understand.
My point is that it happened under your watch, and you seem to have washed your hands and said, oh, because SPIS is there now, he will deal with it. It's no longer my problem.
It's unfortunate that it seems that way, but I hear your view.
Do you understand my
I
concern?
understand, Commissioner.
Perhaps just to add on that, Commissioner Bolhuis, you did testify earlier on that you prepared a handover report to SPIS. Would that report have included this information about the allocation as per email by Commissioner Umashi Dlamini?
No, it would not, and it did not. It covered basically the information collated up to late February, towards end of February. But at that stage, I didn't know about any of the ad hoc sites, so it's not part of the report. The report, can't remember exactly when it was handed over. I think it was the second week or third week of March, but it would have concluded with the information that I had up to end of February only. New information that surfaced in March would have been dealt with Deputy Chief SPIS. I have to just stress to the Commissioners that from the onset that Deputy Police Commissioner SPIS was appointed, there was an ongoing consultative process between the Chief of Police, myself, and Deputy Chief SPIS on an ongoing basis. Many consultative processes where we sat, spoke about things, looked at strategies, gave feedback, advised him where to look, what to do, as he was still new to the city. So it was not just a case where the chief or me or others just washed our hands and stood back. I know it comes across that way, but it's definitely not the case.
Okay, thank you. Perhaps I missed your answer as to the question, why did you forward the request by the CFO, Mr. Mnisi, to Mr. Dlamini? I think I might have missed that.
For the simple reason that any financial matters must go through his division. So even though as the staff officer, I write certain documents with financial implications and it's signed off by the Chief of Police and maybe even checked, I'm using an example, maybe even checked by Deputy Police Commissioner Dlamini, when those documents are returned and when it must come into effect, the financial part of it, it will go to Deputy Chief Dlamini and to the Finance Office. So it had to go there.
And did you support the upliftment of the budget or the request for additional funding, if the two concepts are not confused. Did you support that?
I supported the upliftment of funds for security services because, as mentioned earlier in my testimony, the shortfalls every year on the budget process for security services was a common thing that we've experienced. So we knew from the onset that we're going to have to ask for additional funds and ask for upliftment funds or go through the adjustment budget and secure funds that way. So yes, I fully supported the upliftment of funds. I did not support and still do not support the asking for additional funds for ad hoc services because I've explained in detail a few times now that although in my stint there wasn't a written process, now there is. A request must come from a department. There must be a process. Everyone that's supposed to know should know. Then a decision is made. Then the money is allocated from wherever, whether it's from a client department or whether it's from our budget, etc., etc. So I don't support that and I still don't support it.
Thank you. Chair, we are done. The last paragraph, it's really up to Mr. Spies, Commissioner Bolhuis, to make any closing remarks over and above what is stated at his paragraph 54 of the statement.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm grateful for the opportunity to make a closing remark. I think it's important that you know and understand my views of all of this. So I'm reading from my statement, paragraph 54. I am appalled at the corruption taking place in the city of Tshwane, and for that matter, at most municipalities and government departments. We are public servants, and it is expected of us to be loyal, ethical, and serve our people. I will continue to be a good and honest public servant. May God help me. May God help us all. Thank you.
Mr. Musigiri, is that it from your side?
That's it, Chair.
Thank you. Deputy Chief, thank you very much for
Thank you,
your testimony.
Commissioners.
You are excused. Let us adjourn and resume at 9:30 tomorrow.
That's all.